Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. Yes, I know. I said that I was going to be going live at 7:30 tonight, but surprise, we are going live a little bit early, and I'm doing so because the air quality outside has dramatically improved. I was able to send my children outdoors, which allowed me to come into the comic book room and spend a little bit of time with you guys, and to do so a little bit earlier, especially for those folks on the East Coast and in other countries that watch the channel. You are welcome. Yeah, but thankfully, the air quality has improved, and my children have way too much energy after being stuck in the house for like a week and a half with poor air quality. I needed them. My wife needed them. We needed them outdoors to burn off some of that energy. So they are in the backyard right now. And if you hear some screaming and some shouts and some hoots and hollers and even some bangs, you have to just understand that they have to let it go. They have to let it go. So I want to welcome you guys. We will see whether people will even show up for this early stream, unexpected stream, and we'll take it from there based upon who shows up. So we will definitely be having a conversation about whatever it is that may be top of mind for you guys. There is one thing that I want to get to, because there's a lot of news that is out right now. A lot of news, a lot of stuff going on. When I did the Ready, Set, Go preview show on Sunday night, I actually left out a couple of things, and then more stuff is broken today. So I want to try to play catch up as best I can over the course of this week, if my schedule permits. So we are at least going to talk about one thing that I left off the agenda on Sunday. And then we may talk about, again, whatever may be top of mind for you guys. So let me say hello to some comic book soldiers. I know that Master Blaster and Matt Woods, two of the Blue Wrenches, were in here earlier, so hopefully they have come back into the chat. Pretty fly for a Filipino guy. My man Ariel, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Scrolling down, Young Matthew is in here. Juggernaut Saint is in here. Who else? Sorry. Game Face is in here. Geek Aficionado is in the house. Elvis has hit me on the Instagram. No, was it Instagram or email? It all blurs after a while. He messaged me recently. We had a conversation, and I think Elvis is back on track. It's good to see you, brother. Ortiz is in the house. Super Honorable Nephew is in the house. My man Nick, new comic book shop owner, is in here. Vanessa Coffee Aficionado. Are you related to Geek Aficionado? Those names are way too similar. Way too similar. Vanessa, welcome to you. Oliver, I think I said hello to you already. It is good to see you guys. And again, thanks everybody for joining me for this impromptu live stream. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is the ramifications of some news that we talked about before. And one of the things that we talked about with Dan DiDiorio's departure from DC was the ripple effects that will be had. And we started talking about it the other day with 5G, the fifth generation, the evolution, the changes that were going to be implemented at DC. These changes these plans were in place for a while. They have been signaling that change was coming. And we recently learned again, right, that Jim Lee is basically saying 5G is no more. But one of the things that we learned as part of the changes that have been happening over at DC was that they were also going to be making some changes to the lineup of books that they were releasing. They've already cut certain books. They did it before. I think it was at the end of last year into this year. They made some changes. They are making additional changes. And according to Jim Lee, they are cutting 20 to 25% more books. They're basically saying, we're looking at the bottom of the barrel. We're looking at those books that are not selling well, that are maybe losing money, that might be breaking even, and we are going to be trimming the fat with the hope that the books that will remain will continue to sell well, maybe even sell a little bit more. So they're basically trying to remove any dilution of what they are doing, which isn't necessarily a bad thing until you start to dig into some of the details. And there is actually a surprise book that they are getting rid of. And that book is Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond, the character is super hot right now, right? From a speculation standpoint, with whatever is going on with the movies and all of that other stuff, the animated series and all the stuff that they're talking about, they have actually decided to discontinue the Batman Beyond ongoing series. This is actually the 6th series for Batman Beyond that they are now canceling. They're canceling it. Why? Because it is in the bottom 20 to 25%, which means that it is not selling well, which means that it is being cut. So I don't know what that says. I try to be a reporter in some respects to share with you guys the information. What you make of it is a little bit on you guys. So DC cancels Batman Beyond. That is probably the most like Band-Aid ripping off headline that I've read in a while. So DC plans to cut 20 to 25% of its as the line continues with Batman Beyond. They're getting aggressive, man. And Batman Beyond, again, is really hot. So the current DC ongoing title, Batman Beyond, will be ending with the December issue. This was announced as part of the December 2020 solicitations. This is basically ending where we find Terry McGinnis accused of some crimes he didn't commit. No one cares, clearly, because they are basically wrapping this thing up. So Dan Jurgens is currently writing this thing and will basically be wrapping up the story. So this is the 6th Batman Beyond ongoing DC series that that has been published since it was created in 1999, 2001, right around the time of the animated series. And they say here that DC has not given a reason for this cancellation, which comes after DC publisher creative officer Jim Lee said the company will be reducing its line. So the reason is in the bottom. It's not selling well. That's the reason. They don't need to give a reason because they've already given it. So Batman Beyond will be the 6th title, right? So this is the 6th ongoing series for Batman Beyond, but it is also the 6th title that has already been canceled. And this title was going to be joining Teen Titans, Young Justice, Suicide Squad, Hawkman, and also Hellblazer as the other titles that have already been canceled. And so there's a little bit of some context down here. It's about more punch for the pound, so to speak, says Jim Lee, and increasing the margins on books that we're doing, et cetera, et cetera. So that is the news. It's a little bit of a shocker. My man, Joe, actually reached out to me and he was like, can you believe it? He was like, can you believe it based upon the news? And I was like, Joe, it's fascinating. And I was like, this is actually one of the things that I did not get an opportunity to talk about, but clearly is something that I wanted to share. So thank you, Joe, for reminding me of the importance of this data. So I wanted to make sure I went ahead and do that. So Tina San, giving a shout out. H Factor is in here. Pretty fly for a Filipino guy, is basically saying money talks. Indeed, it does. And you know the rest of that statement, but I will not say it because this is a family channel. But yeah, man, the money talks. And to some degree or another, I respect what DC is doing. I really do. What they are trying to do is to basically get healthy. They are trying to put their emphasis on those books, those titles, those characters that are selling really well, right? Which I think that is fine. I mean, definitely the title, the character is someone's favorite. Somebody out there is going to be upset about it, no doubt about it. But it's probably the right thing for the organization to do. And let's be completely honest, there's probably a bunch of titles that Marvel itself could actually cut back on if they really wanted to do it. But I think that sometimes having lost leaders is okay. Sometimes it actually just gets covered up when you have robust sales. And in DC's case, they're probably being so heavily scrutinized right now that they cannot hide it anymore. And so at a certain point, if things aren't good, people start asking really difficult questions. And if you don't have great answers, then it puts you as a leader in a very, very bad position. So I think that these decisions are being made probably by DC, but under pressure from others in their larger organization. So put Dan Jurgens on Superman when Bendis leaves, says Oliver. That, hey, you never know. You never know, man. You never know what could happen with that. So who knows whether he has an affinity for and a desire to work on Superman, but in my head, the decision probably has already been made as to who's getting that. We just don't know it, right? And so who knows where it's actually who it will actually be. So scrolling down, see what else you guys are talking about. Let me see. Never heard of that press. Okay, let me scroll up. And again, if there's things you guys want to talk about, throw it up in all caps. It'll actually help me to be able to see what you guys want to talk about. It's a business. Tough decisions are being made. Survival mode. Stand up, because that is the truth. That is the truth. A lot of times you have to make really tough decisions that you really don't want to make, but it's the right thing to actually do. So what is this? This is the first time I've actually been worried about DC Comics. Before this news, I've always chalked it up to restructuring. I want to believe that that they're in a good place. I want to believe that, right? I mean, they're still second in a $1 billion market. They're still making roughly $30 million, right? Because they have 30% of a $1 billion market. That's a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? And let's be honest, comics are not the most expensive thing to produce. So I, in my head, there's always fat. There's always fat that has to be trimmed. And so I want to chalk this up to them trimming some fat versus them circling the drain. But anything is possible, right? I mean, I think when, Jim Lee came out recently and made some very public statements, which I applauded. I think they were in Vanity Fair, made a lot of public statements, and there was definitely some spin to it. There was definitely some spin, but that's his job, never do you really get the full story of things, just because there's always, well, we don't really know if this happens or if that happens, things could turn around, and we want to be hopeful, right? You never quite get the full story, but you want to believe that, again, that DC is not necessarily circling the drain. At least that is what probably most of us want to believe. So scrolling through the comments here again, if you guys throw it up in all caps, it will definitely help me. Chuck, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you, my friend. Scrolling up through some of the comments, and then I'm going to drop down to the bottom. I think I've covered most of these. 3 Jokers is indeed amazing. Tina commented on one of the videos earlier today. She was talking about one of the Joker books, Killing Joke. And I was like, I read it. Don't exactly remember it, but I will tell you that Death in a Family was fantastic, and 3 Jokers was incredible. That was a fantastic read. If you haven't read the 3 Jokers, highly recommend it. If you haven't read I can't remember what title it was, Justice League. It might have been Justice League, that actually introduced the context or the details around the fact that there might be 3 Jokers when Batman was the god of information sitting in the Mobius chair. That story arc, fantastic as well. Did not involve the Joker, but it was a great story arc. The Dark Side Wars, oh my goodness. There are certain story arcs, titles, books that I read that just are fantastic. And I remember there's others that I read that I forget about as soon as I stop reading them. But that is par for the course. Let me scroll down to the bottom here, seeing if I missed anything. Justice League 50, I like to say. Let me see. Vanessa is making a comment here. Again, throw it up in all caps because that will actually help me. What is this? Reggie, do you have or are you planning to get Fantastic 452? So, bro, that book has been on my want list. Well, I only did a want list, I want to say 1 year. And it was on my want list. And it was before the Black Panther movie dropped. And that book took off, right? And I just refused to pay those prices. The prices were creeping down, and I was poised to actually get that book. And then things happened and the market took back off. So I will wait for that book to come back down. But Fantastic Four 52 is definitely one of those books that I want, but I will not catch a break. I will not catch a brick by buying that book during the time in which it might be artificially inflated for one reason or another. So I'm going to keep my powder dry, and I'm going to wait for the right opportunity to strike. And what I will tell you is this. There are 2 videos that you guys haven't seen yet that are books that I recently picked up for actual chump change. 2 books I picked up for actual chump change because I want a book, but I won't catch the brick. So I wait and I try to continue to see what's happening out there. And when the right opportunity presents itself, then I take advantage of it. And I've recently taken advantage of 2 really awesome books. Fair sales price from the seller, fair price for me as a buyer. Everybody's super happy. I recently traded for a book. Like, I've done some things that I'm very pleased with, and I'm happy that these are the right decisions to make. And then what was great is that at least in one of those cases, as soon as I completed the transaction, some news broke and the book took off. It is a great thing. It is a great thing. Sometimes you just have to keep your powder dry, which is hard to do. It's hard to do, especially when you have the money in your pocket and it's burning. It's burning a hole. Let me see. Juggernaut's asking a question. Do I think that they'll bring back some of those fatty issues sometime down the road? You know, it is tough to say. It is tough to say. If DC does what I think that they're going to do, and here's what they basically said. So I'm not like making this up. I'm not looking in a crystal ball, and I'm certainly not having an original thought here, but I am connecting some dots. They basically said that they're going to do some things like digitally, and then if things happen digitally that prove to be successful, then they will do print things. If they do some things with Batman Beyond, like movies, animation, that TV shows, that kind of stuff, and the character proves to be popular there is always the possibility that they will introduce a digital thing, right? See how that performs and then move back to print. This idea of using print as the testing ground, I think, is antiquated. According to DC, and I don't think that they're going to do it. I think that they may take a stepwise approach of digital first, then print if it makes sense. We could very well see that. We very well could see that. And they may even take a step back and say, you know, let's bring this character back in a crossover. Let's bring this character back in this title or that title before we go to digital. Then we go to digital and then we go to print, right? So there's a lot of things that they may try. But you would think that the Batman Beyond character would be back at some point. So scrolling up through the comments here, and then I'll drop back down to the bottom here, making sure that I didn't miss anything. AT&T gave DC an ultimatum: get profitable or we shut you down. I don't think that they said that, but it might have been like, get your house in order, people, and at least be profitable. I don't know about shutting you down, but yeah, there were probably some very difficult and uncomfortable conversations that took place. There is no doubt about that. And I've been in those situations, that I'm speaking literally from experience of having been purchased a couple of times by a different company who comes in and scrutinizes your business and doesn't fully understand your business, and it doesn't really care because now they own you. They now own your company, right? So what they say, whether they understand it or not, is now the law of the land, right? So it's a tough situation. Chuck, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you. I guess this is the other Chuck. Reggie, the video is cutting on and off for a few of us. I don't know why that would be the case. You guys might need to reboot. My signal looks pretty strong. I'm actually directly hardwired in. I'm actually not on Wi-Fi, so I'm not quite sure why that is happening, Ariel. But you might need to reboot, exit out, and then come back in, because I don't know if the issue is on my side. But hopefully it clears up. My Canadian brother Rush is up in here. It's good to see you, brother. Scrolling down to the bottom here, seeing you are not late. You cannot be late. You cannot be late. Let me see what else you guys are talking about. Did you see all of those Null King of Black covers? Man, this might be the first time I'm excited about buying a bunch of books, even though a lot of the issues are gimmick issues. I should have known when I started reading that was HVAC. Brother, I have not seen them. I'm gonna be honest. You know, this is going to be a major crossover event, right? And we've basically seen that during Voldemort, the Empire grew by like 50%. King of Sword, or no, Ten of Swords, the X-Men crossover grew dramatically. And given the popularity of Null and given what Donny Cates is doing, I am not completely surprised that this is a voluminous type of crossover event. I personally, I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not going to buy a lot of the covers. I'm just being completely honest. There are so many other things that I want to do then I'm probably not going to buy a lot of that stuff. And again, that is not me passing judgment on anyone. That is not saying that you shouldn't do it. At the end of the day, this is a hobby and you should spend your money however you see fit in a way that actually makes you happy. But you know, I won't be doing it. There are some other things that Reggie is trying to do. And even some of them don't even involve comics, being completely honest. But it's like, you know, if you have a pot of money, that pot of money is only going to go so far, right? And if I don't know if you guys, well, let me tell you guys this because you probably don't. My children recently broke their TV that was in their television room. So dad, being the dad that he is, gives up his TV from his TV room so that his children can watch TV. And my kids don't watch a lot of TV, but we give it to them as a reward, right? So they now have dad's TV in their room. So I was going to buy a new TV. And then I was like, ooh, the TVs are now cheaper. Then you start doing research and you realize that the cheap TV is not necessarily a good TV. So you start looking at the good TVs and you're like, ooh, that is really expensive. So as of right now, Reggie dad does not have a TV in his TV room. He has a TV in his bedroom, which he never watches. So yeah, I may be spending my money on a TV. Let's put it that way. Let me scroll down through these comments and see what else you guys are talking about. So with the Batman Beyond books getting cut, what will they do with the Spec books for that character? Who knows, man? I mean, the Spec books. Well, so let's talk about that. Spec, to some degree or another, is not necessarily driven by the publishers themselves. That is driven by us, right? And to some degree or another, the Spec books that are associated with that character are essentially already out there right now, right? If you look at Batman, Superman, what is it, 22 and 23, you know, those are some of the books where there's a lot of excitement about, and that has nothing to do with the current publishers. Are they potentially going to miss out on an opportunity to make some fast cash by doing some things? Yes. But is there an opportunity for them to do a crossover with that character and throw them on the cover, and then will that book sell? Probably. That is also still a viable way for them to make some cash. So scrolling down. But a couple of things right here. Swagger is saying, bought one of my Grails Avengers 8 6 days ago, got a good deal. And then the announcement for Jonathan Majors came out and prices doubled. Well done. Congratulations, sir, to you. Congratulations on that. That is, oh, there we go. There we go. I've been waiting. I have been waiting for someone. 23 minutes into the conversation and I have been waiting. Oh, there's another one. I missed it. Wes was on it. Well done. Is that the first one? That is that might be the first one. My man Wes is on it. Oh, nope. Jerry, I should have been paying attention. I was so distracted by whatever it was that I was talking about. So, huge announcement to make. The yellow labels for the Reggie Collects exclusive variant finally came in from CGC. I have 3 large boxes that are sitting right here. You can actually see them. 3 large boxes of yellow labels came in a short while ago. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw the post that I put up on my security camera with UPS pulled up. My man brought 3 boxes to me. We have some awesome stuff. So as you see back there on the wall, the yellow labels are in and they are super dope. Super dope. You can see my signature right there. And basically what it says is Gung Ho, issue number 7, Ablaze 2020, signed by Reggie Simmons on 8/4/20. And it says the Reggie Collects edition. Reggie Collects edition. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that. See if I can get it in there. It is finally here. So I have a ton of these things. I am going to start bundling up everyone's order. And here's my conundrum. I do not have the blue labels. The blue labels, which didn't require as much work, are still not here. So anyone that placed an order for a yellow label or a yellow label and a raw copy, I will ship those out. The raw copies have already been shipped out. I will start shipping out those that also order either a yellow label alone or a yellow label with the raw copy. Raw copy was already sent. My hope is that the blue labels will be forthcoming soon, and those that ordered a blue label and a yellow label can get those as one shipment, or else I did not charge enough for shipping to charge to send individual. My assumption is that the raw books would arrive early. I ship those, and then the slabs would all come at the same time, and I would be able to ship those out. So hopefully people get what I just described there. But I am going to start tonight bundling up yellow label orders and shipping those out to you guys in a timely manner. So I am pumped. I have 60, I think there's 60 copies of the yellow label that are here, that are some of which are already been sold and will be going out, some of which has not been sold and will be posted to the website. Now that we basically know that the yellow labels are all 9.8s, I will actually be putting yellow labels on the website along with a handful of the raw copies that I have left that are still high grade. So I have a bunch of raw copies that are defective that I'm still holding, but I have a handful that will be put up as well that are still relatively high grade books that have the potential to come back at a 9.8. Those will all be posted up to the website just as soon as I process through orders. So hopefully people understand what I just kind of broke down for you guys. If not, just send me a message and I'll give you some additional details on what's going on. So let me scroll down. What is this? Oh my God, I can't believe I just noticed the wall. Man, I'm gonna tell you, it was cool. This was my dream from the very beginning. I was like, I am going to cover the entire wall in yellow labels. And I almost took down the Fantastic Four painting back there and just put up the all yellow labels, but I was lazy and I did not do it. Yeah. So at some point, Ed, the 1G. So at some point, Ed, the yellow labels, the raw books, and the blue labels will all be posted back to the website, probably in a stutter, right? Because I have raws ready. I have yellow labels that are ready to go once I process all the orders for people that have already placed them. And then when the blue labels come in, those will also be sent out and then eventually posted to the website. A lot of the yellow labels have already been sold. There are a handful that will be made available that have yet to be sold and will be posted to the website. I do not have a date for that, but it will get done. It will get done, and possibly later this week. I have a bias for action and I have a bias for getting people what they've ordered. So I'm probably going to be working pretty late tonight trying to bundle up orders and at least ship things out. But again, if you placed an order, and there are many of you that actually got blue labels and yellow labels, my hope is that you're going to be okay with me sending one shipment with both the blue label and the yellow label, which means that you will not get your book right away because the blue labels have not yet arrived. They actually were scheduled for grading before the yellow labels, and the yellow labels went from scheduled for grading to shipping in like lickety split time. So fingers crossed that we get the blue labels here relatively soon. So hopefully that helps. And again, let me know. I don't think we got a single 10 or 9.9. Not a single one, which is very disappointing. Very disappointing. I need to go through them. I actually have not opened up all the boxes, to be honest with you. So this box is still sealed. There is one that is equally as large, 25 slabs. There's 2 boxes of 25 and a box of 10. I only opened the 10 enough to get the ones on the wall and to have a couple of extra to show you guys here on screen. I have not opened up the others with the 25. So it'll be a surprise if there is a 10 or a 9.9 in there. That'll be mine. Hopefully they threw a brother a bone and just gave me one. Scrolling down through the chat. All right. I think we basically covered. Is there an unboxing video? You know what? I thought about doing it, bro. And I was like, that'll be the most boring video ever. Cause it'll be like, here's the book. Here's another one. It would be like my Joker video. It was like a box of the same book, you know? But what was crazy is that the Joker books, all of these books and another stack of books, I want to say were all basically sent at basically the same time. And my memory may be a little fuzzy on some of that stuff. After a while, everything starts to blur. So you guys just have to forgive me because sometimes I confuse facts just because there's so much going on. So, but yeah, there will not be a live video of this one. Omega, welcome to the live stream. Glad you were able to actually make it in here. Jason, how you doing? Drop one of those G's, my man. Drop one. It REGIE. I know autocorrect is evil, but I'm just saying. I just looked at your CGC census, and your variant is the only gung ho 7 there is. How cool is that? How cool is that? Yeah, you can look it up. So, Go Collect. We are basically in Go Collect. We are in Comics Price Guide. We might be in coverprice.com. We are basically in most of the pricing services that are out there, and we're clearly in the CGC census as well, which is really, really cool to actually have that. You know, it's just cool stuff, man. That's just cool stuff to have happen, to be honest with you, man. I'm over here trying to live my dream, to be honest with you. What does it say? Thanks, Reggie. Lots of respect to you. You're great. Thank you, man. I definitely appreciate that, brother. I'm just trying to make some magic over here. Reggie, what are some of your unique comics that you have? So if you search Reggie Collects obscure comics, if you search for that, Reggie Collects obscure comics, you will see probably 2 videos of some quirky comics that I actually have in my collection. I probably need to do a couple more videos based upon the books that I've pulled from the 100K collection that I just haven't gotten around to. But there are a couple of bins that I have down here that contain obscure books. Those videos are available to you on the website, so I definitely encourage you guys to check those out. And I'll be honest with you, there are a lot of things, man, that if you search for Reggie Collects and then you plug in a term or two, you will find a video, to be honest with you, because I've done a lot of videos. Have you gotten your Mark Bagley sketch yet, or is it buried? No, the Mark Bagley sketch was revealed already. That was last week. Last week, we unboxed the Mark Bagley sketch, which was super dope, and that is out there. So check that out if you get a chance. Reggie, love the green label video, man. Great. Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. I definitely appreciate it. Trust me when I tell you, everything that I do, by and large, there is a thread. There is a theme. There is a reason for it, right? So there's a reason for that video. That has yet to be revealed, but if you continue watching, you will eventually see it. But I'm glad you enjoyed it, right? Because we started that with the interview that we did with CGC, where we talked about the labels more than a year ago. Somebody made some comments once about what is the actual value of purple labels versus blue labels. So I did a video on that. Now doing a video on the green labels versus blue labels, right? It's just a continuation of the conversation. You know what I'm saying? I have another video coming out possibly next week or the week after that, again, addresses questions that I've heard from you guys. So that's part of the reason why I read everyone's comments, because it actually gives me information that allows me to create more content that actually addresses not just the question of one person, but the question of many people. So I want to definitely encourage you guys to continue submitting your questions, submitting your comments, because it actually helps me to continue putting out really great content. So thank you guys. Skeeter, shout out to you, brother, for the super chat. I absolutely appreciate it, my man. I will put that money to good use. I definitely appreciate it, my man. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this thing up, man. I do not hear my children screaming outside anymore. One of the great things about this microphone and this headphones is it allows me to hear all around the house. And I cannot hear them right now, which means that they are either injured, inside bothering their mother, or doing something that they should not be doing. And my guess is that they're doing something that they should not be doing. All right. With that said, I am going to be processing orders just as quickly as I can. If anyone that placed an order has any questions for me, you send me a message. Reach out to me on Instagram. Send me an email. I will give you a download on whatever is going on. But rest assured that if you placed an order again for a raw book and a yellow label or a yellow label, I'm going to process those orders just as soon as I can. You will receive notification via the system, via the e-commerce system, so that you will have your tracking number and all that kind of stuff. But again, if you guys need to reach out to me, you feel free to do that. And definitely, if you have not gotten a raw book or a yellow book or blue label, stay tuned to the channel and the website reggiecollects.com, because I will be making additional things available for you guys. They may not be the same price as the pre-book phase, but they will be available, and they will not be stupid stupid in terms of price. You have my guarantee and my word on that. All right. If you guys need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Reggie Collects, or you can send me an email to reggie@reggiecollects.com. If you are feeling frisky and want to read some awesome blog posts, make sure you head over to the website. Scott and Ariel and Doug are doing a fantastic job giving me blog posts. In fact, I have one from Doug that I need to put up right now. But rest assured, there's some awesome content if you guys want to check that out. Thank you very much and take care.